Welcome back to the TheBiringPodcast. A lot going on again this week, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be making a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? First, we got the Diddy trial.
This guy's freakier than I thought.
Yeah.
Than anyone thought.
Right? And then Trump took a trip to the Middle East. He was also criticizing Walmart about tariffs.
Yeah, apparently tariffs are going to affect Americans all of a sudden.
Looks like it. He also seems to have gotten a new plane or might get one.
Yeah, did you see that motorcade?
Right. Then we got Mark Carney's new cabinet.
Yeah, same faces in different places means new cabinet, right?
According to liberals, yes it does. And there's no budget.
Who needs one?
Liberals doing what they do. Next, it seems like politics is changing the online dating scene.
Yeah, that is a tricky one. I don't know. Good thing I don't got to date anymore.
Right? But I could see it leading to some arguments about core values. Then we got Weight Watchers filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, you think Ozempic had something to do with that?
Seems like it, man. Seems like the way people look at losing weight is starting to change a little bit, right?
For sure.
After all of that, there will also be some sports talk. And after all that, what do we have for off topic?
So we'll talk about Justin Bieber, Antonio Brown, and a couple other things.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
We'll give you our thoughts and opinions on all of that. So, Diddy.
Yeah.
He's charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He faces 15 years to life in prison if convicted on all counts by the jury.
Well done. Did he do it? The first witness to testify was Casey.
You want to
Casey? Bro. I keep messing up her name.
Oh
I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear. Okay. Cassie?
Yeah,
Casey.
No. Oh my God, bro.
So Cassie. Cassie.
Yeah, Cassie. Yeah.
Okay, Cassie.
Casey.
Cassie. She was. So yeah, she testified the highlights. She said she was involved in drug-fueled freak-offs. Yeah, she described it a bit. I think you guys have heard Craigslist. They were getting people off of it, and exorbitant amount of baby oil.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, just a bunch of weird stuff. I don't think we want to get into all of it.
Not too much, but like the way that he was getting these, or they were getting these prostitutes off of Craigslist, and I think his alias was Mr. Black.
Something weird like that.
Something weird like that, and he would wear like a mask when the person came in. So he would be wearing a wig or whatever. Crazy. Even I think when that video that went viral, even in that video, there's a prostitute in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, when they were in the hotel. Yeah, they showed that video during the whole court process.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but this crazy stuff this guy's been up to, man.
No, it's definitely crazy stuff. But the weird thing is the direction of this entire case.
Yeah.
It's like, so they can't get him on state charges, right? So domestic abuse kind of goes out the window because of the statute of limitations when it comes to California, right?
Yeah.
I think typically for something like that, you have to report the crime between 1 and 3 years, depending on the severity.
Okay.
Right. So obviously this exceeds the statute of limitations, right? So then the defense, like his lawyers, their main argument is kind of like, yes, he's abusive, right? But that's not sex trafficking.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think on the flip side, what Cassie, like what the prosecutor is saying is that there's a difference between, I guess, giving consent and compliance. Like they're kind of arguing that originally it started off with like she was kind of like into it or into him, and then it evolved into what it evolved into, and she didn't know how to get out of it. Right? So I feel like a lot of people are kind of judging this thing based on that video, right? The incident occurred in 2016. The video comes out in 2024, right? So that's 8 years later.
Yeah.
So obviously it's exceeding the statute of limitations.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you look at it that way, it's kind of like, okay, if they're not going to get him on state charges and they are going to go RICO, I think why they're going RICO is because that's what worked with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Right? And this is kind of similar to that a little bit, but he He had them kidnapped and he wouldn't let them go. From what I
Yeah, his was kind of like a cult, but the way they're describing, like the details they're saying about the Diddy thing, it seems similar.
Right.
The hold that Diddy has on, because it's not just Cassie.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 other, but there's no one else is testifying, I think.
Oh, okay.
So far that I know.
Yeah.
It's just her that they put on the stand, this heavily pregnant woman.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they're asking way too many details. I don't know if it's
she's due
necessary.
soon, right? Like
They were worried that she'd go into labor like on the weekend.
Oh, wow.
They were thinking I think they're done examining her or whatever, but they were worried that they wouldn't get to finish because she's that close to like giving
That's
birth.
crazy.
Do you think a part of that is the optics of it? Because if you're a prosecutor, right, it kind of, you're getting a little bit of sympathy out of the jury by having a pregnant
For sure,
woman up
yeah.
there that's been through all of this, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But is that really something they could have timed? Like, she just happened
When they would
to be
start the
pregnant?
You just, if something falls into your lap, you're gonna use it to your advantage type of deal.
Yeah.
But even him, he clearly was kind of prepping for this day because he's probably, God knows how long he's been up to these antics, right?
Yeah.
'Cause, even in court, they were showing how he had text conversations with her, and she was saying something along the lines like, "Can't wait for the next freak off."
Yeah.
Now it's like, did he put her up to that, or did she actually do it? And proving that's difficult too.
Yeah, like when they were cross-examining her, they were making her read the text messages that she had with Diddy.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it look like she wanted to
She was
do
down.
that.
And okay, the way I look at it though, like when she was in a relationship with him, I don't know, like she was with him for a long time, so she did love him.
Yeah.
Whether or not she was into it at one point, you can't make that be the entire argument that even now she would be into it. Now that when she broke up with him and then he went to her apartment and he like assaulted her, that's the same thing, that she's been into it, or they're bringing like her husband into it. Like you can't talk about someone's personal, when you're dating someone, it's different.
For sure.
Right.
The way you feel about them is different. If they do something to you,
Also, she doesn't fully know him, right? When she starts dating him,
young when
right?
she was dating
Yeah,
him.
That's the
she was like
thing.
18, 19, right?
Yeah, there's a whole thing about like grooming, right?
Yeah.
Like she was a baby when she started dating this man.
It's
right?
complicating because she's signed to his record label.
Exactly.
Right? So
There's
like
so
it
many
complicates that a little bit, right? And obviously, like
took advantage of that.
Exactly.
I even saw something like, remember when she shaved her head?
Yeah.
He made her do it.
No.
Probably
So,
the Kid
whether or
Cudi
not
thing.
that's someone allegedly, right?
Yeah.
But he's clearly had some sort of influence on her.
100%.
I don't necessarily believe that she was so down the whole time. It was like a young person wanting someone like approval from somebody,
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I can agree with that for sure, but it doesn't matter what we believe, right? It's what you can convince a jury, right?
sure.
And if the argument isn't that he's an abusive freak, right? The argument is, was that sex trafficking, right?
Yeah.
The argument is, was that sex trafficking and was it racketeering,
He's definitely a freak, that's for sure.
right?
Yeah, that's their whole defense, right? They're saying that they're trying to say he's not a sex trafficker. He's just he's a troubled person. That's what they're trying to say. That was into a swinger lifestyle.
You know what?
Lifestyle.
So they remember when they raided his house?
Yeah.
They got whatever they got. They never talked about the tapes and all that. They found a bunch of baby oil and it kind of made like
Baby oil, man.
headline news and stuff, which we laugh at. But that baby oil could be a part of this racketeering case, right? That is an organized crime. Like they're trying
They're
to say
selling
that
baby oil?
Nah, man.
No, that they're
That they're organized.
organizing assault.
Yeah.
And then I feel like typically when you look at RICO cases, it's to go after mob bosses, right? And it's done after actual organized crime. I think the argument they're going to create here is that his, managers, friends, whoever was in his inner circle, that they were helping with these prostitutes and things of that nature, right?
I think there's some merit to that too.
There
But what
probably
if
is.
like you're a celebrity and you have an assistant and your assistant does everything for you? Is
Yeah.
that organized crime?
It
At
depends
some
on the
point-
level of involvement.
For you.
No, for 9 years,
Yeah.
for 8-9 years.
Yeah.
If you've been doing it for 3 months and you're like, well, something here is
Yeah.
weird. Well, like, I'm
Right.
out, right?
Yeah.
Then no. But for 7, 8, 9
Exactly.
years, you just keep
I'm in
doing
no
it.
way siding with Diddy in this situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's not
likewise.
that,
I don't
but-
think anyone
Likewise.
is.
And then again, also a jury is human, right? Like it could go in the direction where they don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
You never know with the jury, man. I feel like it's just what they charged them with. Maybe it's not the right move. It might blow up in their face.
I think originally everyone was
No
thinking,
pun intended.
everyone was thinking that it was they were going after him because there's a bunch of tapes and he recorded a bunch of people. I think what
Like
happened,
an Epstein situation.
yeah,
right?
I think what happened instead was Cassie went to the feds and they knew that there was no state case because the statute of limitations, and I think the way that it looks like to me, my opinion, right? They were like, okay, let's get him on a federal level then.
Yeah.
Right. And the only way you can go after him is racketeering and sex trafficking. What other
Statute of
charges?
limitations is 3 years. I thought
3
with
years.
this whole Me Too movement they increased it.
So in California, I know that they're trying to table some sort of legislation now, especially because of this Epstein. Like they're trying to change it to 5 to 15 years,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But right now it's 1 to 3.
Okay.
I think for domestic abuse specifically, it should be a longer period.
It 100% should.
Especially if you're gonna. But precedents are also dangerous because
But a lot of victims choose to tell their story way later than it happened.
Yeah.
Like, what about them?
it should be at least 5 to 10 years, if not 5 to 15, right?
Then how did the whole Bill Cosby thing happen?
What do you mean?
Remember, his was also statute of limitations, but he also went to jail for a bit.
Yeah, but he was doing it. I'm not so familiar with the case, but I think there was a lot more victims.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there were drugs
and there's a lot of stuff involved there, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just one victim.
Right.
Yeah.
That came forward too.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you gotta imagine if you're the prosecutor, right? If you hear all the details of this whole situation, right? And you're like, oh, what can we pin him on? It's this.
Yeah.
You can't get him on anything else.
If they had 50 Cent on that jury, it'd be done deal.
What was in that plane though? Remember the plane? Right when they broke into his house, he put a bunch of stuff on a plane, and a plane just left, and he stayed in Miami. Whatever. Yeah.
Right?
Then he was MIA for like 3-4 days, and then he showed up again. Then he got arrested like a week later.
Yeah.
You know what's also crazy? So all these details that we're like reading, right?
Yeah.
Their kids are all in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Wild.
Imagine them hearing that.
Well, maybe they know about it already.
They probably know about it to an extent, and you'd be
Well, I mean,
amazed.
if we all know about it, they would too. Like,
Yeah.
on the internet.
Yeah.
But they're there watching the test.
Yeah.
Imagine listening to your dad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think some people don't formulate their own opinions or look at things objectively, especially when it comes to family.
Yeah.
There's definitely this filter.
Yeah.
And they just and they just think like they just see that as like their dad.
For
right?
sure.
They
It
don't
must
see
not be as bad as
this
it is.
evil bad exactly. Right?
Right.
Everyone gets suckered in situations.
This thing's gonna go on for another 7 weeks, I think, right?
Yeah.
If this is just
the
how
beginning.
it started,
Yeah.
man.
Wow.
Yeah. But let's move on to Trump. He took a trip to the Middle East. If anyone missed it, they basically rolled out the red carpet. And here's a clip.
That's his motorcade. Yeah, like Tesla, Cybertruck.
Oh,
the camels.
damn. The camels are cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they went all in. This Qatar or Qatar?
And the job you've done is second to none. You look at this, it's so beautiful. As a construction person, I'm seeing perfect marble. This is what they call perfecto. And just a great job you've done. And what a beautiful place. And we appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. And that was some greeting. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, this guy loves his camels.
Yeah. So he goes to Qatar, right?
Yeah.
And he talks to the American troops and like Qatari leaders.
Yeah.
Right. I think he even said something about a nuclear deal with Iran.
Yeah.
Right. Then he goes to Abu Dhabi, and they have some sort of a partnership of to build like some sort of massive data center complex there.
Yeah.
And then outside of all of that, the only thing everyone was talking about was this plane that's being given.
Yeah.
Right?
The plane was a big deal.
Yeah. I think he also got a deal with Qatar to buy, I think it was American-made Boeing plane.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody cared about that.
Yeah, the whole trip, it turned out it wasn't really a diplomatic situation. It was a business trip. He was just trying to get a bunch of deals done.
Right.
Right. And I think people assumed he was going there to make like peace.
Yeah.
And like the whole situation in Gaza, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
seemed like he was just trying to get contracts done. I think it was $2 trillion worth of investments during that whole trip.
Yeah, I think most people don't even realize that the amount of American troops in Qatar, right? It's the biggest military installment in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Right? So it's an important military advantage for them, right? So it makes sense for him to go there, ignite the troops, talk to them, right? But like, it's obviously going to be looked at because of how contradictory he was.
For sure.
Plane, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have a clip of him talking about this plane.
But I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that. Why wouldn't we do that? And so it helps us out because we'll have a relatively new plane instead of having 40-year-old planes. These planes are 40 years old, and that's not representative of our country.
Now, this plane's not for me. This goes to the United States Air Force for whoever is president. And at some point, it'll be like Ronald Reagan. It'll be decommissioned. You know, it's 11 years old.
So it stays until it's decommissioned.
Yeah, it'll be decommissioned because they won't want it. Plus, they'll have the other two planes by that time, and there'll be brand new planes, etc. But I just want to say, it was a radical left story that a lot of people, including you.
I asked the Prime Minister about it specifically, and he said, you know, he didn't understand the reaction back home, and you know, he made that clear.
I think he was insulted. Actually, he made a gift to help somebody that has helped them. It was so nice as a gesture.
But I thought.
Dude, planes cost a lot, eh?
Yeah, I think it's like
$400-500 plane.
$1 million, right?
Crazy.
But it's huge. Like, the plane's really big.
Yo, the plane's really nice.
They got mad money there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's a tactical thing for them too, right? They don't just do it, right?
Yeah.
But I also feel like I don't know. I don't know how you would feel about that if you are an American, right? Like, if you are a Trump guy and you're just like, rah, you can do no wrong, sure, right?
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it from the financial side, sure, right? But there are certain optics of it. One, right? It's not, you're getting it gifted security reasons. Right, there's a whole bunch of things that go in.
For sure, they're buttering them up, right?
Right. No, even the plane itself, Air Force One is being gifted to you. From the Middle East. Right, like, it's kind of weird.
Optically, it is weird. There's pushback from both sides. Even Republicans are coming out and going like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because he's kind of contradicting himself too a bit, right? This guy.
I mean, they could have gave a lot of gifts. They could have done deals that were like advancing like geopolitical ties and stuff. I don't think you needed to take a plane. Yeah. Right. But Trump was just like, it's a very nice gift, guys.
Yeah. Is it all Trump's decision if to accept it or not?
Yeah. Well, decision.
He is accepting it?
But yeah, he said
he never said he's not going to accept it.
In 2016, he did. I think we have a clip of him basically contradicting himself about
Saudi Arabia giving $25 billion, Qatar, all of these countries. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money.
Not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better.
Why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly?
You should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much.
Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that.
It should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation.
So I feel like even he can make the argument from both sides, right? You can make fun of that a little bit. I think that was a Daily Show clip there.
Yeah.
But you see both sides of the thing, right? Like, optically, it looks like a little fishy, right? And then, like, I don't know if the president wants to be riding in a plane that's gifted to you from the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, if this was from the other side of the aisle, right? If this was, let's say, Obama or something, you would have seen the right go at him.
For sure.
Right.
Now they're coming at him from the left.
Yeah.
And he's annoyed by it. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah. for sure. And he himself was saying that, he's against it. But that wasn't the only thing he was talking about. He was also talking about Walmart.
Yeah.
And he posted this on his True Social. He goes, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as a reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers.
Okay, so what's the logic there? Walmart makes a lot of money, so they should just pay the tariffs themselves? Like, businesses don't want to lose money.
No, they don't want to lose money.
Doesn't matter how much they make.
So a similar situation happened with Bezos, right? That we saw, right? Where Amazon was rumored to they were about to list tariffs, right? As one of the expenses when you're checking out, and it would show you how much of your money is going towards tariffs, right?
Yeah.
And then Trump picks up the phone, he calls Bezos, and immediately the story gets dropped and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And then there is the argument that you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Businesses need to make money. So if the price is increased and they want to list the cost that's increasing that price, fair enough, right?
And they have obligations to their shareholders too, right?
That is one, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side is you're politicizing it somewhat, because anytime a price is increase of anything, let's say Walmart, for example, right?
Yeah.
If you're buying anything from Walmart, headphones, TV, groceries, or whatever, right? They don't tell you any of the other reasons why a price would increase, right? Which could be 1,000 things. Supply and demand. It could be shipping. It could be shortage in supply. It could be like anything related to the cost of it, right? The cost of energy goes up, certain inflation. You don't see anything outside of just tax. Right? And outside of that, you wouldn't see any other breakdown, right?
Yeah.
So adding tariffs in there is also kind of contradictory to that, right?
Yeah.
So you could see the pushback is like, because you're politicizing it a little bit, right?
Yeah. Do you think it's a little bit, though, it gives these companies an out? It's like, usually they would just raise them. Now they're like, oh, we have this tariff thing here. We'll just use that as... I don't think it is an excuse. Obviously, it's affecting them.
Yeah.
Things are costing more and that gets passed down. Like, Trump was denying that for what reason? I don't know.
What?
That's what always happens. The tax gets passed down to the end user.
It does get passed down, but I think, I feel like you can't go too much on this Trump side and you can't go too much on the left side, right?
Yeah.
I don't think all of it gets passed down right away.
Yeah.
Right? I think what left-wing media does is they do a good job saying like, oh my God, guys, the price of everything is going up right now. It takes months.
Exactly. Yeah.
It takes a while, right? And then prices go up. And sometimes corporations are greedy. We all know this, right? Even though I lean more to the capitalist side, right? You still have to know that if somebody can make more money, right? Or if they have to sacrifice less, that's what a company's going to do. Why would they be like, no, we're not going to jack up the prices and tariffs, or why?
Yeah.
Right. When he's saying they should eat these tariffs, they can't eat them on everything. Yeah. Right. But on certain things, they could technically.
For sure.
Right. Imagine if you're running a corporation, right? And you're Canadian, right? If this is happening to you, right? A part of you, if it's a certain product that you're selling or service that is, I don't know, a necessity. A part of you is going to eat some of that cost. Sure. Right. If you're patriotic, if you agree with what the hell the political landscape is at that time. Yeah. Now, if you are on the opposing side, then you're not going to do that. Then you're going to list tariffs are the expense. Yeah. Because even the argument, isn't it like what they try to argue is like they deserve to do that because the cost of everything's going up. And if you look at Walmart, the owners of Walmart, I think like 3-4 of them are in the Forbes top 20 billionaires in the world, right? These people don't need any more money. Right? It's not somebody you feel bad for. Yeah. Right.
Nobody's gonna feel bad, but I don't know. Like even Republicans were coming out and saying they were like tariffs are inherently inflationary. So the whole talk behind it is like, did this guy mislead Americans? Not only Americans, even his supporters, because he flat out denied. He's like, there's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be all good. Like I was reading up on it a bit, and apparently all of these companies, Walmart included, like even Amazon and stuff, they stocked up on supplies because these tariffs were coming, and they knew it was gonna start to impact them. And now apparently those supplies are running down, so they're having to get more. Those are getting the tariffs. Now it's impacting them.
I saw like a picture today where a guy had like there was a bunch of stuff for like $8.99 and he just had a bunch of $17.99 stickers just slapping them on. I think it was Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but even that, like now the Chinese tariffs with the US are paused for 90 days.
Yeah.
Right. And between US and Canada, anything that's USMCA compliant, you don't get a tariff anyways.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Anything outside of that, we all know it's 25%, but Canada's not really getting slapped with any of that. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is like, you keep getting this like, oh my God, prices are going to go up. But conveniently, just like we talked about with iPhones, right? When they were about to go up, they kind of go away.
Yeah.
Right. Now they're going to go up again. Walmart's slapping on now China, US deal. So things keep happening. These prices aren't really going to go up, right?
It was always a negotiation.
But like what you were saying to your point, like Republicans arguing that like, you know, somebody who's like so pro Trump that he's bringing manufacturing back. Like how is tariffs not inflationary?
Yeah. To deny that is just, it's stupid.
You're directly raising the price of things.
Yeah.
Right?
If you
like,
just accept that because Trump told you so, you're dumb. Dude,
right? Like it's common sense, man. Like if you're buying something that's imported from, like if Canada Canada has 100% tariff on Chinese EVs.
Yeah.
Right? That makes the cost of those cars go up. Right? That's inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So and the argument I think is that it's a one-time cost versus inflation increases prices every year. Right. But the counter argument to that is also the other things associated with inflation also continue to increase that car price every single year. Plus it's 100%.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it's still starting to increase it, then inflation will increase it anyways.
Right.
Carries further.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's Trump being Trump. On to Canada.
Yeah.
So Prime Minister Carney has a new cabinet. I don't know if it's exactly new.
Is it new?
I don't know, right? But here's a clip of Pierre Poilievre talking about it.
First press conference, Mr. Carney talked a good game about reversing liberal policies in these areas, but now we have to find out if he was serious. And so far, it's not a promising start. The first disappointment is, unfortunately, his cabinet. He appointed Trudeau's old team and Trudeau's old advisors. Stephen Guilbeault, whose radical green agenda would shut down all future developments in our resource industry, he is still the minister responsible for Quebec. Sean Fraser was the immigration minister who caused the immigration crisis, the housing minister who gave us the housing crisis, and now he's the minister responsible for addressing the liberal crime crisis. It seems like he is the master at failing upward. Chrystia Freeland, who as finance minister hiked capital gains tax and carbon taxes and massively grew our debt to the point where we now spend $1 billion a week on interest, stays in the cabinet. And there's Gary Anadasangari, the new Minister of Public Safety, who said the actual crimes, the actual issues around bail are quite sound, and they are embedded and codified in law right now, as in to say that there's nothing wrong with the system. Well, in fact, there's everything wrong, as we see from the growing crime wave on our streets. Then there's François-Philippe Champagne, Trudeau's Minister of Everything, who never really managed to do anything. He was the Minister of Industry, during which we had the worst economic growth of any country in the G7. And now he's in charge of the budget. Then there's Joly, LeBlanc, Haidu, Anand. Anand was the president of the Treasury Board, during which time the bureaucracy and the consultant bills blew out of control. In all, 14 Trudeau ministers are now in Carney's cabinet. It's more of the same when Canada needs real change. He talked.
Yeah. So
Poilievre made that video?
Yeah. It was on his YouTube.
Wow.
His team.
Propaganda.
Right?
Is it propaganda though?
Like he showed a guy in cuffs.
But it's a legit
that guy?
picture. He was just
Why
like,
was he wearing like an orange jumpsuit?
I think he was just supporting some green.
Yeah, wasn't he on the roof of something?
Yeah.
He was like one of those protesters that, I don't know the exact story, but he did something kind of crazy.
Like one of those,
Not
like,
just some
tie
random
yourself to a
dude,
tree
yeah.
type.
That's him. That's
Yeah.
the picture.
I thought I was just like, did he do some like crazy crime?
No, it's
No,
probably
he's
one of
just
those things.
climate crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually 23 ministers instead of 37. So it's a smaller group than Trudeau, I guess. But it's a lot of the same people. It kind of feels like he took Trudeau's cabinet and then arbitrarily like just tossed him around. Like, how do you go from managing transportation, now take care of foreign affairs, right?
Yeah. The way they
the
switched
changes
around
didn't
was
make
weird too, it
sense.
didn't.
Yeah, to finance, right? Like Chrystia Freeland, her background's in journalism, right?
Yeah.
She goes from finance to transportation.
Yeah.
Makes
Right.
a lot of sense.
That makes sense, right? And then
you take
had-
the transportation girl and you like take care of foreign affairs.
yeah.
Do you
I don't
think
know.
people that voted liberal are upset, or do you think they
No,
don't care?
No,
just, like,
they
they're
don't
happy.
care. Like
As a
to me,
genius.
I see this right. Like last week when we were talking about it, I was like, hopefully optimistic
Yeah.
that things will change somewhat, right? Because you
He's
know,
our prime minister. We might as well hope for the
Of
best.
right?
That's
But
what
when you see this, right, these are the exact same people, right? And we put out Instagram reels where we would get hate comments, a whole
Yeah.
bunch of shit, right? Where they're like, it's not the same cabinet, right?
Right.
What is it? This isn't the same cabinet.
He picked
Like,
all the pictures too with Trudeau standing. Like,
and then like if you think that certain things are going to change, they're not, because if Carney was the one who was advising Trudeau that whole time, and then now everybody else that was advising Trudeau the whole time,
Yeah.
it's the same people running the country again.
Even he had some new additions, I guess.
Hmm.
Like the housing minister, it's a former mayor of Vancouver,
Right.
Gregor Robertson,
Yeah.
and he made him the minister of housing. So we all know what happened with housing in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's not doing great.
Yeah, it's like the most
Right.
expensive real estate
And he,
yeah.
in North America, maybe.
yeah, he probably like top 10 in the world, right?
Yeah.
He came out recently too and said that housing prices are not that bad right now,
No.
and they don't need to come lower. They just need to stabilize.
I saw that he said
Yeah.
So that's where that guy's at with the
Yeah,
housing.
yeah.
And so whoever was crying about, oh, the liberal government's going to fix the housing crisis, they like where the home prices are at.
I said this before. I was like, most liberals
love where
own
the
the homes. You think they want home prices to come down?
Right.
They love
Like people in the upper middle class who own multiple properties, right? You get used to house prices continuing to rise. That's
Yeah.
where a lot of these people make their money, right? I'm not saying that these are all liberals or whatever, right? We own houses too. Right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not, nobody who owns real estate wants house prices to come down. They want them to stay there long enough so they can buy a little bit more, and then they keep going up.
Yeah.
Right? Why would you? And then even what their solution to the housing crisis, what was it? The Build
His
Canada Home,
plan,
that
yeah,
bureaucratic
yeah.
thing that they set up, right?
Yeah.
Where they were basically building government housing, renting it
Yeah.
out to people, right? And they weren't doing anything in terms of tax incentives, in terms of incentivizing
But
people.
they did come out with something recently, a middle income tax cut.
A middle income, what was it, 1% was the thing that we were talking about. It's like
I think the
$400
same
a
thing.
year for two
Yeah.
people. We talked about
But
it.
I think they're gonna implement it July 1st. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
They
you'll
do
save $40 a month, right? And when everything else costs like $400 more a month, and that makes sense, right?
that. Then it'll cost $360.
Right? I mean, yeah, man.
And he has no budget, right?
Oh, that's
on that. It's like
It'll
Trudeau.
come out when in the fall or something.
I don't know. Trudeau was saying what the budget will fix itself.
Yeah.
This guy's just like the budget doesn't need to be there. It'll make itself.
So they're saying they're going to put out a fall economic statement, right? Which is basically going to tell us the state of the economy, which will
Even that's not a
already-
budget.
It's not a budget, right? So the last time this does happen, but the last time this happened was 2020 during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Trudeau didn't have a budget.
Yeah.
Right. Before that, it hasn't happened since all the way back in 2002, John Chrétien.
Yeah.
Right. The one thing that they have in common there is everyone's a liberal, right? But what reason does this guy have to not have a budget?
I don't know.
Simply, the only reason he has is because he feels like it, or maybe what they did during the elections, maybe it's the tariffs. I can't know.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
I
Who
don't
knows what that is?
That's they're already reversing course on the pipeline too.
Yeah,
He's like,
even that.
I'll move forward with it if there's a consent. What consensus are you gonna have?
Yeah. In their party, they're not gonna have a consensus to move forward with any pipelines. What this is gonna be is a lot more of the same with somebody who has a financial background, right? So you're gonna get the same policies as the person who was advising Trudeau, but now you're gonna get a banker doing it, right?
See how it turns out.
I'm hopeful, man. Hopefully,
You gotta be hopeful. We want Canada to win, right?
right? Hopefully,
'Cause so far it's scary.
yeah. My two things that I'm constantly watching out for with this, because I already know how the Liberals act when it comes to money. They overspend, and I'm already expecting that. Biggest things here for me are that they can pass are dangerous, or censorship in Canada. and climate change.
Yeah.
If they're going to go so far on climate change, I feel like it's a weird place.
We already know how Carney feels about climate change.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, let's move on. It looks like politics is causing a problem in the online dating world.
Okay.
So there's an article that comes out. 2025's political climate is wreaking havoc in the online dating world. And if you scroll down, if you look right here, politically divided online and on dating apps, right? It says the importance of a date's politics isn't just anecdotal, it's proven by research. Pre-inauguration day data from the dating app Hilly, which polled 5,000 mostly straight Gen Z and millennial Americans, found that around 4 in 10 American women have strong political beliefs, and a third would turn down a date over political differences, while around the same portion of men hold strong political views. Just 1 in 10 would forego a date if their political view did not align.
Damn.
Researchers also found nearly half of American women wouldn't date someone who voted for the other side in the last election, a higher portion than the 1 in 5 men. Meanwhile, May 2025 research from 6 in 10 women around the world would like to have the same political views as their match. In the US alone, this portion rises to nearly 7 in 10.
Okay.
So people don't like to, it seems like women are more about it, but they don't like to date date people with differing political views.
I mean, it could get hard to talk to somebody with different political views, right? Just to have like cooler heads prevail, and it gets heated a lot of the times. Can't imagine trying to date somebody who doesn't agree with how you think the country should be.
I mean, it depends on like what you're dating for, right? If you're dating for
when you're dating.
and when you're dating.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But I feel like these days everyone's kind of tapped in, right? And everyone knows about politics somewhat.
But do you think it's because we're at the age where everyone cares?
Maybe, but I also feel like politics is more prevalent on social media these days.
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't this widely covered before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was mainly just people 50 plus that would be that tapped in, right?
Yeah.
Like now I feel like anyone above 25 knows people.
I mean,
right?
when you get scared that you'll never be able to buy a home in your life, you start paying attention, right?
Yeah, but I'll put it this way. Like when you were 21, did you know who the finance minister in Canada was?
No clue.
Nobody even would have seen a picture.
I didn't know, like 2 years ago, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this whole thing comes down to like core values, right? Like I think you see it's one thing to be like if you're on this side or the other, but it does change the way that you think depending on who you vote for. It also changes the way that you spend money, right?
You plan your future,
how you plan
how you want to raise
all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I feel like it's deeper than just political views. It becomes like kind of what you believe, your value system, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because they both align.
Right.
Because you choose a political party based on what you value. Do they match my values?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if somebody's going to agree with your political view, they're probably going to agree with the way you see life.
Yeah. Like, for example, if you look at like minorities, right?
Yeah.
And if you believe that a certain minority group, like what they're doing is like they're somewhat marginalized, right? You're going to vote in a way where you're supporting incentives for those minorities versus if you think all of that stuff is a waste of money, right? You're going to vote in a different way.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. If you're in the middle class and you're trying to, I don't know, build some sort of wealth and tax is important to you, you're going to vote one way.
Yeah.
Right. On the flip side, if you think that, you know, social welfare programs and equality for all financially is important, you're going to vote a different way.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the times people also, I'm just talking about money. They structure their lives around these kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it becomes increasingly difficult. Imagine having these conversations with somebody who you're going to marry, or even if you're married. I think like when elections happen is when most people that first year after elections, within that first year, a lot of them know all of the talking points of the elections, where they fall on these talking points, right? So even if somebody's been married for like 3-4 years, then you're like, hold on, I don't know if we agree on all of this.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And it gets kind of weird. And if somebody's not open to like having conversation and debate. That's a weird relationship.
But that's why I think dating is not really affected by it, because I don't think those conversations are being had when you go on your first, second, third date. I think they happen when you're in that marriage.
Really? I think you're wrong.
We didn't talk about politics.
But we came from a different time, right? Like we weren't on these online dating apps, right? Most people that I talk to now, they're still trying to find somebody. It seems like it's like get to business, right? If you're not like the person, if you're looking for marriage, right?
Oh my God, imagine someone's bio was just like, I'm a liberal, only date liberals.
Like, do you think they're doing that now?
I don't know.
Imagine.
But, okay, I'm thinking about it. Wouldn't one of your first questions be like, not one of your first, but like, what side do you want?
No, I don't think I've asked my friends who they voted for.
Has it not gotten weird though?
I feel like it gets brought up.
It gets brought up.
It gets brought up, and it gets weird. How people dissect situations gets weird.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. To me, it feels like a thing where I would, if I was, I'm not in the dating world, but if I was, right?
Thank God.
Let's talk about if you were.
No, it's okay. I'll just leave it over.
No, like online, you see a bunch of like, mainly girls, honestly, they complain about how, you can't find a guy, so many problems. Now you got to worry about who you voted for and what, like, that's too much. You're putting too much into it.
Yeah, but
imagine he checks off all your boxes, or vice versa. If you're a guy, girl checks off all your boxes, and you're like, damn, she's a liberal. That sucks, right?
But weren't you just saying how important your political views are?
I know. I'm just saying
values.
That's just
so
another
that
thing.
Important thing to
for sure.
Yeah.
You know what? I would look at it differently. If she's checking all the boxes and she's voting liberal, I'd be like, what the hell? You said you agree with this, and this. Why the hell are you voting that way?
Misinformed.
Right? So then that's a bigger conversation, right? Mm-hmm. If she's not checking all those boxes, like clearly the men are like, we'll still go on the date, right? Like, only 1 out of 10 are like, we're not going on the date. Whereas the women are saying, no, like, we're not dealing with that, right? Because it's, I don't know, man. Like, I think it's also telling of a man, right? Like, if you're for lower taxes and you don't care that much about social welfare programs, you're probably looking at a dude who's motivated to go out and make money.
For sure.
Right? You're not looking at a guy who wants to sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know, like if a girl's dissecting that, like from that angle, right? Like she's going to be like, okay, maybe this guy does something. Yeah. Right? Like otherwise, why would he be for this, right? Yeah. But there's also the manosphere, as they like to call it, right? A lot of those people are on the right. Right, we've been called bro podcasters on one of our comments somewhere on one of these things. Somebody said, well, these are the kind of bros that ruined the American elections.
When the way you put it, though, like I think when you are as a girl looking for somebody and it's a guy who doesn't really have any motivation to do anything, it is unattractive. Mm-hmm. But so I wouldn't automatically think, oh, he must vote conservative. But now when you like the way you put it, I guess I probably would think that.
I mean, if you're trying to make it in life and somebody's saying that we're going to raise taxes for people that are a go-getter right away is going to be like, oh, that's not good for me.
It wouldn't have clicked to me like back when I was dating.
Yeah.
Maybe in my 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one thing that's important to consider, that in the beginning when people start dating, it might not matter so much if they have different political views, but then in the long term, if they get more serious, like it can cause problems.
Yeah, they have those conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think you're right. But during election season,
I don't know what it's like now, though. Maybe people are talking about it more. Maybe
it's like I feel like for sure now.
You open conversation now.
Hey, who's your boy?
Like I saw. No, whatever. It's enough. Let's move on to Weight Watchers. So Weight Watchers has filed for bankruptcy in the U.S. as it struggles with debt and fierce competition from fat loss jabs like Ozempic and Mounjaro. The legal process will see 1.15 billion of the 6-year-old diet brand's debt written off while it agrees new terms for paying back its lenders. Weight Watchers said it will remain fully operational during the process with no impact to members. It follows the meteoric rise in popularity of weight loss injections in what the firm said was a rapidly changing weight management landscape.
Okay. So clearly these fat loss jabs are having an impact, right? Ozempic, what's the other one? Mounjaro?
Mounjaro, yeah.
Yeah, they're taking over the weight loss industry.
They are, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, Weight Watchers was like they owned that whole thing, right? They've been around forever.
Yeah, for decades.
But okay, so in terms of that, I do believe Ozempic had something to do with it, but I think it's more than that. I think there's just so many tools available for free online.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need to pay for a membership somewhere. There's meal plans available. There's like fitness apps available. I don't think you necessarily need Weight Watchers
But
anymore.
they've been around. It's only now they filed for bankruptcy.
But that's what I mean. I think they've been losing money since.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
Look at all the
Even
TikTok influencers.
yeah, you can just go on Instagram or
you
TikTok
can
and
go on ChatGPT and be like,
ChatGPT
make
will
me
give
a
you-
workout plan.
Yeah.
a whole breakdown, man.
ChatGPT is going to get rid of a lot of these kind of companies for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you guys feel on Ozempic?
I don't like me personally. I don't know if I think natural weight loss is always the way to go. But I'm definitely seeing online, like I've seen people even kind of document their whole thing with Ozempic. They'll be like, here's me after my first jab, and like I'm doing these exercises. The whole thing. There's that level of comfort where people are like
so open with using
Like,
it.
look at my experience.
yeah, they're
Like,
just
it's like a
accepting of it.
happy-
It's not
yeah.
it's not even a taboo thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I'm on it, whatever, it's all good.
Because I think a lot of Americans are seeing it as a good thing. Like it's doing such good things for a population. Like even for the first time in decades, their obesity level is decreasing.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it has to
But
do
at
with
what cost, right? Like we don't know the long-term effects of
Yeah.
these things.
That's the thing, right? It's developed for what? Type 2 diabetes?
Yeah, it's a diabetes drug.
Right. And like you're saying, the long-term effects, nobody knows yet.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when it comes to, I feel like metabolism, muscle mass.
Exactly.
Right? You see the faces that get sunken in, right?
Yeah, what's that guy's name?
Scott did.
Scott? Yeah.
Yeah.
He like, I think he opened his fridge and there was
Yeah, it was
Mounjaro in his fridge because he
In the
dropped
show.
weight on the show like
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy
Kardashian.
fast.
Yeah. And even injections
He
like
looks like
this,
Dracula or some shit.
you also don't know what it can do to your organs, right? Like,
Don't.
yeah.
They haven't studied any of this shit. And you just like, it's kind of like these guys are guinea pigs and they're all for
There's
it.
also like a huge, like when you stop taking it, so many people gain the weight back. 'Cause
Really?
It's supposed to be like lifestyle changes, but nobody wants to make because it's such a fast
That's the
weight
thing.
loss. So, okay, how I feel about it, I'm not against it. Like, yeah, I guess you can consider it cheating.
Yeah.
But if someone's trying to better their life in that way, like they make the whole lifestyle change, I'm like, go do it. Go be
Okay.
like, or somebody that's like morbidly obese and it
Right.
helps that person. I'm not against it.
That's the time where I'm.
Yeah. If somebody,
Celebrities, sorry,
Yeah,
that are
right.
like doing it, and then now their hair is just falling out. Like those are the reasons I would not do it.
Yeah.
yeah, when you see skinny celebrities doing it, you're like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
the hell are you? What is
Overkill, right?
right? But I do feel like it does become cheating if you're like 20 pounds overweight and you can't just dial that
down.
back, right? Like it's not a lifestyle substitute, right? And as soon as you stop taking it,
Gain.
you're gonna gain it back,
Yeah.
right? And like if it's continuously decreasing muscle mass, I don't know what kind of long-term effects that's gonna have,
Osteoporosis
On your
arthritis,
bones.
right?
Yeah.
And nobody talks about how much it costs.
Exactly.
Right. And
What
if you
Trump
have this
did.
dependence, if you have this dependence on it, right, you're kind of creating this cycle of this is what drug and pharmaceutical companies do.
Yeah.
You're creating this cycle. Yeah. You're creating this cycle of, I'm going to take it. I'm going to get skinny and then I'm going to eat like shit and I'm going to get fat again. Then I'm going to take it. And you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Versus like if you, we're not the fittest people on the planet by any means,
Yeah.
but if you want to become healthier, it has to be a lifestyle change.
100%.
Right? All the things that we talk about from time to time, right? Whether it's sleeping, working out, all of those things, that you have to do all of those things.
For
It has to
sure.
take priority if you want to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Like I've seen ads where you don't even need to go to a doctor anymore to get it. You could just like order it online and it comes to your door. I don't know if I've never
Really?
clicked on
I've
it.
never tried
I've
it.
seen it on like Instagram, just like going through it.
You know, Weight Watchers did that before, like they filed for bankruptcy. They had like a telehealth program where like people can go online and get these kind of weight loss drugs prescribed to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were like trying to go.
They tried to undercut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw the trend and they're like, hold on.
The brand's too
late,
strong.
though. Yeah.
With Ozempic and
I
Mounjaro.
think though I read somewhere that this used to be a weight loss drug before too,
Really.
but very rarely up.
A lot of times these pharmaceutical companies, they push it out and it starts doing something else and then they market it that way and start selling it that way.
That's
Well,
true.
typically, any medication, not any, but a lot of medication developed for type 2 diabetes, they do lead to weight loss.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's not just Ozempic.
It's like a side effect. Right?
Yeah, like there's even, well, in the Punjabi Indian community, right? Like it's well known, like people would say things like, I hope I get diabetic, right? Because I already saw lose some weight, right? It's because they wanted that Ozempic.
Yeah.
But like that's like 10 years ago, right? So it's not something new, but I don't know. To me, losing muscle mass, it's extremely important, man. Like if you age, you want to play with your grandkids, you want to live a life where you're self-dependent. You don't realize it when you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. Yeah, how much you need them.
Yeah.
Man, the
Right?
only safe way is like to lose weight naturally and slowly. You can't rush it. It's lifestyle change and it's going to take you, like, depending, if you want to lose like 80 pounds, it's going to take you a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to be dedicated.
Yeah. Even I feel like even people that like if they've never worked out before and then they start going hard in the gym and they go hard for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
You don't know what kind of damage you're gonna do to your joints.
Exactly.
Right? And all of a sudden you tear something in your shoulder, you mess up your knee, right? Like you gotta slow and steady, something that's consistent and just keep going.
Yeah.
Right?
But sometimes it's hard when you don't see results quickly.
It's always hard.
It's this
especially
like people just trying to cheat and do things the easy way. It's this whole lazy generation, man.
You know what's weird
Perfect drug for them.
I did see this thing about I could just see a meme being made about it, but how in general people are better looking these days.
Really?
Right? Because of the competition, because of this constant
Losing weight.
yeah, for this constant comparison.
Yeah.
Right? You're always comparing yourself, so people are always motivated to look better. Everyone's figuring out ways, whether you agree or disagree, whether it's makeup or hair transplants or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just keeps on. So you can make this argument that you're trying to look better, right?
That's a pro, I guess.
Yeah, but then again,
Growing up in this vain society.
Yeah.
that's what it is to me, right? Social media just makes you
Worse and
incredibly
worse.
vain.
Like imagine our children, like their struggles.
Yeah. Like what happened to, I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, let's move on to some sports.
Yeah, let's get into some sports. So one of the things going around, I don't know if you were following it, but the NBA draft, there's a lot of talk about it being rigged. So
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah.
So the draft lottery happened. They had like a 1.8% chance at winning the whole thing. And they got the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you look at this graphic here, it shows, so people saw that there was a pattern kind of. Like if you trade a pick to LA specifically, you end up with the number one pick, right?
Yeah.
Like they got in 2011 there.
Yeah.
The New Orleans, they traded to LA, number one pick. Then David Griffin in 2019, we know when he traded Anthony Davis, end up with the number one pick. And now Luka gets traded in 25. Number one pick, probably going to be Cooper Flag.
Yeah. If they don't draft him, they'd be stupid.
Then Nico would.
Right.
But like right now, he kind of recovered from this, right? All these stories, they all follow the same pattern. Star wants out, trade him to LA, season slips, tank, or whatever, or luck. Fresh start just gets delivered to you. You have a 1.8% chance. Raptors had a way higher chance. We ended up with like ninth pick, I think.
Yeah. I mean, getting Cooper Flag for Luka, that trade doesn't seem so bad.
But
right, because
if we knew that was the outcome, everybody would be like, genius.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. But like, I think Nico Harrison, as much fun as we made of the guy, he definitely recovered, right, just by luck.
Is it luck?
That's the thing. There's a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah. Even LeBron and Wade, we have a clip of them. They were talking about the whole situation too.
Listen, man, during the ball drop, during the lottery drop, Cleveland got the number one pick. I just don't think that was.
What a coincidence.
Don't you see
Wemby with the Spurs.
Oh my God! Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. You know, Derrick Rose to the Bulls. Like, I understand the assignment, guys. I had to make sure that, I had to.
I was winning the draft lottery. I'm curious because everyone thinks it's rigged. Oh my gosh, what do you say, Dwayne? What is this, man? What is going on?
It's a business. Now, I'm not saying anyone is doing anything because I'm not a witness in it, but this is a business that we're a part of. And I think people forget that in the competition of sports and what we love because we grow up playing sports and it's not a business when we grow up. But when you're in the NBA, it's a business and the business has to do its best job to make sure that, it's taken care of. And so I don't know.
I'm saying you what they'll say.
I think it was 2008 when I thought we was going to get the number 1 pick. We ended up getting a number 2 pick. We drafted Mike Beasley. But the Chicago Bulls, just like Dallas, they had a small percentage, and then they end up jumping into the top 4. And in my mind, I said, Derrick Rose is number 1 pick in the draft. The Bulls are going to get first, and the Bulls did. So maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe LeBron going to Cleveland is a coincidence. Maybe these things are. But it's good to talk about, and it gives all of us something on our platforms to talk about. So we're going to talk about it.
See, this guy, they added a couple more things. LeBron ends up in Cleveland somehow.
Yeah.
And Derrick Rose ends up in Chicago somehow.
Yeah.
So
Ewing. Yeah.
So these guys they're in the business, right? And they're talking about it, and they're giving more merit to it, kind of saying it without saying it, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, right? And Cooper Flag going to Dallas, was that something that was like hugely like a right fit or something? Like, I don't know about that, right? Like LeBron Cleveland, you could see, right? The guy's from Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Like Akron's right up the road.
Yeah.
Right? In Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose, sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's a Chicago native,
Mhm.
right? Cooper Flag to Dallas, I feel like is a little bit different, right? Like you can jump to that conclusion, sure, because even though, Dallas without Luka, everyone was talking shit. We were too. Everybody was, right? But if Cooper Flag's gonna fill a nice roster spot there, right? Kyrie, sure. Cooper, and
all of a sudden looks like
Davis,
a good team, right? The whole talk behind is like the good for business side is Luka ending up on LA. Otherwise, like LeBron retires, where are they? It's that part of it, right?
Yeah,
we all know, like in business, these things happen where you want to do what's best for your product, put the best product out. I'm gonna keep saying it. I think the NBA messed up by getting away from the super team era. Yeah. Right. I think when you have super teams, fair weather fans check in more. Yeah. Right. When you have a bunch of teams and you have a lot of parity in the league, these guys aren't going to check in as much. Yeah. Right? Like they're not that interested in the games. Yeah. Right. Like if you had Anthony Edwards, right, paired up with like, a Zion. Yeah. Right. Like people are probably going to check in. If right? A couple of these young guys started getting together. Right. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Yeah. We also, another thing going on, I don't know if you know about it, it's Jordan. So NBC renewed their contract with the NBA. Yeah. And apparently Jordan's joining their broadcast. They didn't specify like what role he would be doing, but they already got like, I think Vince Carter, they got Jamal Crawford on there. I don't know if he's going to be part of like a panel. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like me personally, I couldn't even imagine Jordan like talking about basketball. He's such a vain person, kind of like when it comes to sports specifically. I don't know outside of that, his life. I think he's competitive, yes, and I think for the most part, the way that you see MJ, he doesn't really do too many interviews. He's not really on too many podcasts. It's not really his thing, exactly, right? And the way that he is kind of live in the shadows, right? Yeah. Like even when back in the days when people try to politicize certain things, right? We've all heard the line when he was like, Republicans buy sneakers too. Yeah. Right. When they were asking him about the president at the time, right? And they're just asking which way he's voting or this or that, right? Or if he stands up for what he stands up for, right? He's not taking the LeBron approach, which is trying to be social justice warrior. Yeah. Right? He's always been the kind of person who not shies away from it, but kind of keeps those thoughts to himself, right? A little bit more reserved in that sense. But now, if he's going to be showing his personality more, I mean,
maybe MJ's
But can he even do it? Like, I'm picturing Jordan just like on a broadcast, and they like turn to him for his opinion. He's gonna be like, "I would have dropped 50. This guy sucks."
I'll watch that. If you like, I don't know if you watched. Remember when Kobe used to do those takes where he would be like, they would show like a highlight of a player,
that
and then the player.
I forgot
would
what
do,
it
like,
was
a pick and roll.
called, but I know what you're talking about.
And anytime Kobe would like guest sit on any of these panels, right?
Yeah.
Anytime like some of the greatest come and sit, it's definitely good conversation, right? Like MJ sitting, like if you want to see somebody's ego checked, imagine MJ sitting next to Shaq.
Yeah. But
Right.
don't you think it's too much in the room? He'll just shut everybody up. They're like, "But yeah, you are better than all of us."
No, it's not. It's not only that, because he could say that, sure, right? But he also owned a team that sucked the whole time he owned it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he knows everything and anything about, like, not everything about basketball. He's a great player.
Yeah.
He could probably analyze players.
Yeah.
And a lot of what Jordan is that he had the heart, right? And the killer instinct.
For sure, yeah.
Right. And when he's going to see players that don't give it their all, he's going to get frustrated, which is going to lead to some great moments. I think it's good TV. And I think in this podcast world, in this opinionated world, in this social media world, somebody like MJ should be in front of a screen. Why not?
Yeah, it'll be great to see his like
personality.
We don't know what the hell
like
he
the
does.
way you're saying he lives in the shadows. Like you don't really know. Like what is he going to be funny?
Yeah.
I would think
doubt
like,
it'll
he's
be funny.
older now,
Yeah.
maturity. Like maybe he won't be so competitive, like sounding.
I think he
Like
will be.
obnoxious almost,
Just guessing. I think he will be, but I think he took the right approach because he's doing I think he's going to be doing the analysis side of it. Like Brady went to broadcasting, like doing play by play, and a lot of people are giving him like shit for it.
Yeah, I think play-by-play is beneath Jordan, right? And that's
Even Brady, I think, is
He's been getting a lot of backlash from like his son's situation, so he needs to like
I didn't consider that, but
show like, oh, he's a good guy.
possibly.
I mean, what do you do with
That guy's a
kids,
law
man?
school.
Yeah, and it's
They're also saying like he's a bad dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Do you think MJ cares if people think he's a bad dad? I don't know if he does.
Yeah, because
I hurt any dad.
Yeah.
You're a bad dad. I think. I don't know.
I don't think that one's his fault, man.
I think it hurts a parent definitely hearing that, like, you're not a good parent, you're not a good dad, you're not a good mom. It would hurt any parent, right?
Yeah.
But there is this thing, once your kids are old enough, people, they're humans, right? People make their own decisions. You can't be the reason why they make those bad decisions, and you can't also put yourself in a position where you're always constantly sad or emotional because of decisions that your kids made.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You see these Knicks though?
Yeah, the Knicks were going crazy, man. They actually won.
Yeah.
I think first, did you see Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, what they got into, those guys?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
They had a little altercation, I think.
Yeah.
Do we have a clip?
We have a clip.
Matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese is still going after Caitlin Clark in the
I don't know if
aftermath.
you guys saw this. What do you think of it?
As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew that Caitlin Clark was
Little
going to
bit
take
of
that
it.
foul.
I don't know.
Let's not make it anything that it's not. It was just a good play on the basketball. I'm not sure what the refs saw to upgrade it, and that's up to their discretion after watching initial whatever happened during the play and then whatever happened after. We watch a lot of basketball. It's a take foul to put them at the free throw line. I'd rather give up 2 points.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of basketball in my life. That's exactly what it was. I wasn't trying to do anything malicious. That's not the type of player I am. So, this wasn't anything like that. I mean, I went for the ball, and that's clear as day in the replay. You watch it. It shouldn't have been upgraded. But, again, that's up to the ref's discretion. But,
Yeah, so I think that was the situation. Honestly, I didn't even watch the game.
Who watches a game, bro?
People are
time
tuned into them too.
These two. The only time somebody tunes in is when these two get into a little bit of this situation.
Yeah, but the way she described it, it was end of game situation. It looked like a goddamn take foul. I think she played it up a bit.
Yeah,
Angel Reese, I'm saying, right? I don't get their whole thing. I feel like the media created it. It feels like Caitlin Clark doesn't really care about it, and Angel Reese is always just trying to like stir things.
Well, Caitlin Clark's a better player.
I think
right,
so.
and they've had a little bit of a feud since college.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's obviously going to be the race.
The media loves to spin it that way. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I don't think it has anything to do with it either. I also saw a lot of people like that were on the right because Caitlin Clark isn't really one of those people that I think she's more liberal in the way that she approaches things, right?
That's how she's super liberal.
Yeah,
every time she
talks,
talks,
right? Whenever she talks about situations or her ideology on things, she seems like
I feel like the Republicans want her on their side, but she's so
they wanted her, but I feel like most Republicans have kind of shifted gears, right? Because she's not like a hardcore right wing kind of person, right? So yeah, I don't know how you can turn this into a race issue because anytime anything comes up, she's kind of on the side, like where she plays the middle, maybe center left, right? So I don't think it's a race issue.
I don't think so,
right? But
they're just competing.
If you're looking at that purely like basketball. Yeah, that's a take foul.
That's a take foul.
Angel Reese going up for a layup and you get slapped on your forearms and you're gonna act like you got punched in the face.
Yeah,
like what are you doing?
Overkill. Even the way she went down, like it looked like a little floppy to me. I don't know. That's eye test.
Yeah.
I thought it was overblown, but yeah, they're the only reason anyone's tuning into the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is cold.
Yeah, and people remember there was this argument about they should get paid more WNBA players or whatever.
I remember all that.
I mean, the NBA subsidizes,
right? Like, talk about subsidizing,
right? Like if you as a corporation aren't making enough money, right? How is that anyone else's fault? If you make more money, then you'll get more. Like, I don't know. To me, I feel like everyone thought that WNBA was shifting because of the noise that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were making, but now I feel like I don't know if it's gonna last.
Yeah,
right. Eventually, people get bored and they move on.
Maybe that's why they do stuff like this.
Yeah,
keep people entertained.
Right.
But then we did have the Knicks. The Knicks won their. I think it's been a while since they got to the third round, right?
Yeah.
A couple decades, right?
I mean, the last Knicks championship was Willis Reed way back in the day.
Way back in the day, right? And then you got Ewing, he was close to one.
A Knicks franchise is very similar to how the Maple Leafs feel.
How we feel,
base, like, you get the same sort of vibe, right? Like, you know, kind of live in mediocrity.
Yeah.
You have these glimpses of maybe winning a chip, right?
Yeah.
But I think New York went wild.
Did you see what these guys are doing? They're losing their shit.
Yeah.
Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks! Let's go Knicks!
This is a second round victory.
Yeah.
This is even conference.
Yeah, they're acting like they won.
Damn.
Oh my god, that's so scary. I know.
This guy's like, why did I drive here?
Right.
Why are you driving on that night? You know they're gonna close the series. You know?
Yeah. This guy, give me a fence. This guy. Oh wow.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, these guys are excited,
man.
Definitely, man. After the kind of seasons that the Knicks have had, but then recently the team that they have, Jalen Brunson, Cat, right? Like I don't know, it's promising.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. You got them and the Pacers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely exciting series.
Every pick I had.
I think nobody was expecting two teams like this to make it. Right. I feel like it's we've been saying the last couple of weeks in the NBA especially. I feel like
the guard, right?
Yeah.
It happened. Yeah. Even the Celtics, they got past them.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was just reading like on the way here, Brown. Apparently he was playing with a torn meniscus in his knee. I don't know how he was doing that, but that's the report that came out afterwards. The other one, Tatum, he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So he's out probably all the next season. Immediately, did this dynasty never exist? This whole team.
I never thought it was a dynasty. I never thought it was a dynasty. I think other people jumped to that conclusion really quickly. But to your injury standpoint, or point, sorry, everyone in the playoffs is playing injured. Right? That's how the playoffs go, right?
Yeah.
It's not torn ACLs and stuff, right? But people play injured all the time.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like if you're, I don't know, you don't want to make injuries the excuse for not winning, right?
Yeah.
But it does suck, right? For sure, right? But even Indiana, man, impressive.
Yeah,
Impressive.
they've been good, man.
Yeah, impressive.
Pacers or the Knicks are gonna come out of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You know
Nobody put that on their bracket.
Crazy. If I had to pick one of the two, I think Knicks are going to the finals.
Right?
I think Knicks are going to the finals.
I think they're the stronger team.
That's wild, man.
Imagine the Knicks winning a championship. Holy, what would they do to New York, man? They did that for the third round.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see whoever comes out of the West, right? And like, I mean, take it for what you will, because we've been kind of wrong on every single basketball pick this year.
Probably coming out of the West.
Yeah, I think the West wins a chip this year. I don't think it's going to be the Knicks and the Pacers. I don't know, right? But we've been doubting them this whole time, and they keep winning. So
what the hell do we know?
What the hell do we know? But I think that's it for sports. Let's move on to off topic.
So first, we'll talk about Justin Bieber.
Okay, so TMZ recently released a documentary about Justin Bieber. So in the doc, they paint a picture of Bieber as like a pop star who's in crisis financially and emotionally.
Okay.
So did you guys hear in December 2022, he sold his entire music catalog for $200 million? So it's usually pretty unusual for a young artist to sell their entire music catalog. Like, artists will typically do this later on in their career when they've like done making music. And then he also canceled his tour in 2022, which they're saying in the doc that it cost him a possible $90 million. So they're trying to use all those examples to paint him as financially doing unwell. Then there was stuff about the Diddy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's this whole rhetoric online about when he was younger, he was always with Diddy and stuff, and was he a possible victim?
Yeah.
But after it aired, a rep actually came out for Justin and issued like a very firm statement that he was not one of Diddy's victims, and is kind of taking away from like the real victims, that they should focus on them.
Okay.
And then additionally, it also like touched on his personal life, about his mental health, his drug use, and the influence of his church. So church home. So some of his old friends that he like is no longer friends with anymore.
Yeah.
They say that he like would isolate himself, and that this church is kind of like a cult.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people have been saying.
Okay.
So yeah, they're just kind of like highlighting his stuff and like kind of touching on all these little things. So what do you guys think about that? Like, what do you think are the financial pros and cons of maybe selling your catalog when you're that young? Like, do you think it was because he was like kind of broke?
Probably. Why else would he be doing that, right?
He also went to India and did that show. Remember for
for the
yeah.
money?
Yeah, I feel like money struggles.
But man, who's gonna pass that up?
Those guys were handing out money.
10 mil for 2 hours.
Kind of like what he did. Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't do it. Right? I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
For that much money?
No, if you're already worth that much money, it's kind
That's
of
the thing. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was broke.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say is that I kind of read up on this. I think I don't know, at some point, but Scooter Braun, right? He put out a piece saying that, you know, he's broke and he did it for financial reasons. I think he was saying he was advising this guy to sell his catalog in January because for the tax incentives.
He needed the money so much, they're saying he sold it in December.
Yeah. So if you look at that, right? I think we were talking about it once, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at that, like if you're going to save millions of dollars, you can wait 20, 30 days, right? The only reason you would flip it in December.
You need that.
Well, two things. One, you completely disagree with this manager and you have this disdain, right? And you don't trust this person whatsoever. And you think that they have
making an erratic decision.
Yeah, where you're like, screw you.
Like he's kind of doing some weird
Seems like he's kind of done his whole life.
Yeah. But if like Simmer's asking from the financial standpoint, if you're not going to wait, then the optics of that is going to make it look like you needed the money. That's why you did it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's going to pass up like it was tens of millions.
I find it weird though. Like his wife's business is doing really well. Like I don't see them having money problems like that.
But I feel like his wife's business started doing well within the last couple of years. Like he sold his catalog in 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's also, I think when artists are touring, right, they're making a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I think he
canceled his tour, so he lost a lot of money.
Right. And I think they don't realize that the life, or maybe they do, the life that they've created, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. To keep that lifestyle going, right?
Yeah.
So then if he, somewhere around his tours, probably made $500 million to $1 billion, like he's a big time pop star.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're living life that way, I don't, at some point, if the income stops coming in, because now he was kind of like out of the public eye, right? Like, I don't know what his business ventures are or whatever, but it seems like he wasn't really doing much.
Yeah.
The way they were trying to put it in the documentary is that kind of shows that he was like having burnout. He's just not doing well mentally.
Well, it seems like a little bit.
Well, imagine
financial distress.
He's always spazzing out on these what are they called? Paparazzi.
Oh, yeah.
Paparazzi is like, they do this shit to like gaslight these artists or celebrities, right? They'll get it in their face, right? That's what I was gonna say too. Imagine if like this Diddy stuff, like none of it is true, right?
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake, right?
Yeah.
And imagine constantly being reminded, like,
so annoying. Man.
Hey, did he touch you in a weird way? Did he? But yeah, that constant reminder, right? And he is a father, right? And a husband, right? Like he's a man, right? At the end of the day, you're like, bro, what the hell, right? And it gets to you, right? So then maybe he doesn't want to be in the public eye, right? Maybe he's not used to stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I think this was like the first time a rep for Justin actually issued a statement about him not being one of Diddy's alleged victims.
Yeah. Which is weird. Like people ran
why wait
that.
this long, right?
Yeah, with that music video where like everyone's like crying. Like I see grown men on podcasts being like, I feel
yummy.
so.
What?
The lonely one, that one.
Yeah. What did she say?
Yummy.
It has a lot of symbolism in that video that people are saying.
Okay,
to do
the lonely one. Like I've seen grown men podcasters crying, like, "Oh, this kid went through right." Like, oh my god,
with zero evidence.
Yeah, with zero evidence.
A good song.
But the emotion that he gets from people out of that song is pretty.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
So another man known for his, erratic behavior.
Okay.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was allegedly in an altercation outside of a celebrity boxing event hosted by Aiden Ross. So we have a video.
Back up, Puff! Puff, back up! Who's that? Here. Oh, sorry. Oh shit!
Yeah, that's a security guard of that he just kicked in the face.
Oh shit!
So yeah, he was detained for a short amount of time, but then then he went to like Aiden Ross's.
Yeah, he was on the stream.
Yeah, I think even one of the guys on the live stream, he was like, "Yeah, that was my security guard."
Yeah. The guy on the stream, he was like, "That's my security guard." First, he walks into the stream and he's just like, "I got CTE, man. I'm blacked out." Like, that's not a cop out. You can't use that when you want or when you don't want to look bad. How do you walk into the room all like cognizant and you just go, "Oh, I have CTE"?
I mean, if you've seen this guy on Twitter, he's gotten like a pretty big following, right? Because he kind of says a lot of controversial takes on things, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like he's wise enough if you're playing this social media game to walk into an Aiden Ross stream, you know what the hell's going on. You're like, hey guys, none of that shit was my fault.
Yeah.
Right.
That's he actually, during that whole thing too, he pulled out a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a photo of him. He's running, pulling it out.
There's a video of it.
There's a video.
Yeah, he runs past the guy. Some guy allegedly, we don't know what happened. Somebody tried to take his chain.
Yeah.
Right.
He said it on the stream.
Yeah.
He's like, they try to snatch his chain.
So then, if somebody's gotta teach these kids lessons, man. No, I don't know if he's a kid, but if somebody's gonna try to take your chain, right? Eventually, you're gonna run up on the wrong guy. right?
He
And
held
shit's
his
gonna
own,
happen.
kind of. He just ended up kicking the security guards.
He did kick, but nobody took his chain.
Nobody
right?
took his chain.
And like,
Yeah, he tweeted out like I was jumped by multiple individuals. They tried to steal my jewelry, cause physical harm.
But yeah, this guy's kind of crashing out. But he was making a comeback. That's why it's kind of sad, right?
I don't know
with this whole like what is it, cracker of the day?
He does that. Yeah, I feel like he has his ups and downs, and guys like him, they're always on the fence, on the line.
Yeah.
And I don't think this means much. If somebody tried to steal your chain and you kick the security guard, the gunshots which is wild.
That's the weird one, right? You can get charged for that, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone got shot.
Yeah, he shot in the air.
Yeah,
That's what they said.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
And where was this? Was this in Florida?
I don't know if it was Florida. It was a boxing event. The same guy, Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
He
It's
kind of
celebrity boxing.
he started doing the same thing. He has like a boxing thing.
Well, if one guy's making money, then other people can make money too, right?
I mean, maybe we'll see AB in the ring next, right? They called the guy who tried to snatch his chain, put him in the ring with him.
Yeah, but
If that's even true.
That'd be cool.
if he's already talking about CTE, the last thing you want to do is get in a boxing ring, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to a prison break.
Prison break.
Yeah, so this is like a prison break in real life. So 10 inmates in New Orleans, they escaped from prison. 3 of them were found, but this is how they escaped. It was the middle of the night. They escaped from a hole behind the toilet, and they made that note. They left. This is them running away.
Holy shit.
They used blankets to scale the wall with barbed wire.
Like one guy was carrying a blanket.
Yeah, then they ran across the highway.
Oh my god!
And they just went off into they hit off into neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Imagine being one of those cars and just inmates just driving.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like even on the toilet there, they wrote "too easy" above the toilet.
Yeah,
and they spelled it wrong.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And then the prison didn't even discover that these people had escaped until the next morning. They did a head count. So 7 hours later, and there's still a nationwide manhunt for the missing people. So only 3 of them have been found. 7 of them are still.
So hold up, 7 hours they're not found, and 3 guys like that. Like where
right?
these guys were they just right beside the prison?
It reminds me of Prison Break, man.
It does, man. It
Didn't
does.
that happen too? A couple guys get caught right away, and then the smart ones they stay.
But
out.
that had like an intricate plot, right?
Yeah,
like I don't know, looking
this
at
is
that,
hilarious.
like the toilet was just facing the outside. Like how easy was it to cut?
They just
Isn't
took
it
the toilet
It was
off.
on the inside, and then
How did they cut it?
off. I don't know.
I don't know. They get
like I would imagine it's a concrete wall, right? If it's drywall and wood,
It can't just be drywall.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
there was nothing behind. Where's the brick? They just kicked it, I guess.
No, I guess like because it faces an outside wall, like they somehow.
No, I think they went through the hole and it was inside the prison. Then they maneuvered their way into a hallway. Then they kind of got out. They're saying that it might have been an inside job, that they got help from some people in the
Maybe.
prison.
Where's it, New Orleans?
Yeah, in New Orleans.
How do you get past security guards? They left out of a delivery thing, like a delivery dog.
Yo, and they're carrying the blankets. The one guy just falls on the floor. He's probably
Nobody realizes for 7 hours.
He's probably the one who got caught. The guy who fell. That's my guess.
That's what you think?
No.
I think it was the guy probably eating a home cooked meal.
He just goes home. He's like, I'm back. They let me out.
It's crazy. 11 people, man.
Was it a
Not even just
maximum
1 or 2.
Imagine what they were in there, what crimes they were in.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
What do
It's
you
kind of
guys think?
scary.
What would possess these people to do that and make these escapes when
I
they're
mean, if
already in there for such bad crimes?
If somebody's in there for 25 years and you're doing that,
What do you got to lose?
whatever, right? But if there's somebody in there who's gonna get out in a year and
Yeah,
they're
if
just
you're,
like, I'm gonna go.
Imagine you're getting out in a couple months.
Yeah.
And you just do this, and now you're in there for 20 years.
yeah.
But if you're in there for a while, what do you have to lose?
But
You
imagine
end up
driving
back-
down the highway, like I think Sophia was saying, and then seeing 11 inmates just you're like, oh
So I
shit.
always had this weird thought, so on one of the lines on the GO train,
Yeah.
passes by the Toronto East Jail.
Okay.
So you see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I always think whoa, what if they
Oh,
like
are they on the train?
on?
Yeah. You guys ever driven on the freeway or highway,
Yeah.
I should say. In
Yeah.
Canada, that's what we call them. It says inmates crossing or inmates don't pick up hitchhikers. It always says
That's
that
a lot in the States.
In the States,
anytime
maybe that's why I
I'm
said
in the
freeway.
States and you'll
Why,
see.
or is it like close to a prison?
Yeah, close to a
Yeah,
prison.
whenever you're close to a prison in the States, they'll always
Not inmates crossing. They're not ducks.
Like a picture of guys on the side.
No,
and he just sees inmates. He's like, oh,
it'll say don't pick up hitchhikers, prison area, something. Like
yeah, it'll say that. Yeah,
but that means that kind of happens.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but that does happen.
Yeah.
But 11 of them running out all at once.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man. I don't remember the last time I've seen something like that. That's nuts.
Yeah. Imagine inmates crossing.
Damn.
Okay, so our last story is so have you guys heard of Caveman Skincare?
No.
Have you heard of anything? Okay, so basically there's this TikToker. She lives in Montreal. So she had a habit of picking her skin. She had really severe acne. She used to pick her skin. She had a lot of scars.
Okay.
So she came up with this method called a caveman skin routine to regenerate her skin barrier. So basically she would do nothing to her skin. Stop washing her skin, stopped using moisturizer, stopped sunscreen, stopped completely, and leaving the house like this. So this is what she started to look like.
Whoa.
The buildup of oil and
That's not product on her face?
That is just her not washing her face. So
For how long?
I think months she did it.
Oh my god.
What the
Some people are saying she's lying.
Yeah.
Like she's putting something on it just for.
Yeah, it looks like it kind of.
It does.
I was watching, like, she does get ready with me's. Where
Yeah.
she'll start putting mascara on. She just won't wash her face. And she'll leave the house like this. She went to a wedding like this.
Oh my god.
Why?
But, like, why does the whole lip area look fine?
Because she's saying that she just used to do so much like shit to her face. And it gave her such bad acne and scarring that she just wants to completely stop it and let her skin like regenerate on its own.
Okay. So what the hell's the end goal here?
No, that's all fine, right?
To crust off and then she have good.
Okay, sure. But you can't wash your face while you do this. That's the
Yeah.
Don't use like all the
Like, I'm gonna do nothing.
Like you're saying, get rid of the skincare, right?
I mean, for me as a guy, I don't know what other guys do, right? Like, our face wash routine isn't like the craziest, right? You wash your face, right? But you guys could probably speak to like how much, like, different products and stuff that girls use, right?
Yeah.
Because of makeup and stuff, which I know nothing about, right? But yeah, if the least she could do is just wash her face.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just put a little cream on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't agree with what she did, but skincare routines these days are so wild.
Yeah.
They're like 10 to 20 steps. Like, not only there's double cleansing because one cleanse isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
There's exfoliating, toners, serums, eye creams, face oils, retinol, and girls do this every single day.
Yeah.
So like I like the whole skincare trend. Like, people are kind of steering away from like makeup, more skincare.
Okay.
But this is the extreme of
No, that's crazy.
not doing
That still looks to me like she's got like a face mask on.
It does look.
People are saying that she's putting an Aztec clay on her face, but I don't know. All her videos are like this. So I read though recently she started washing her face again.
Good for her.
Yeah, no, everyone should wash their face.
Go out in public like this go to a wedding like this. I don't get it.
Yeah.
At some point, it becomes a part of your personality. That's your character. You're the girl with the fucked up face, right?
Imagine that shit just like breaking up on the person. Like, she's in school. She goes.
Oh no.
I
She's
mean,
just asking
that
to
looks
get
like
bullied.
Cradle Cap, right? That's what it looks like to me. You know, with kids,
Yeah.
Cradle?
when you have kids, yeah,
this,
the
like,
the yellow flaky stuff, right? Sometimes they'll even get it when they're like toddlers and stuff, and then it goes away.
Okay.
And it looks like that. It can get on their foreheads and stuff like that, or
You have to
their
like
eyes.
wash it away.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you don't just not wash it.
Yeah. It's just like flaky skin.
Yeah.
So are people adopting this trend? They're starting to do it?
No, but a lot of like dermatologists and doctors and stuff are saying don't.
It's stupid.
Yeah. No.
I could
The
tell you
bare
that.
minimum you should be doing is cleansing your face and putting
Yeah.
on moisturizer
Yeah.
and sunscreen. Sunscreen.
Yeah,
Really
sunscreen's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that from Simmer.
That's all we have for off topic.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on to the questions. So first we'll start with how many years are you willing to go without the following?
Okay.
So 4 things, the years are 6, 12, 18, 24. So how many years are you willing to go without eating any desserts or sweets? 2, taking naps. 3, wearing sweatpants. And 4, using music streaming services. So like Spotify, Apple Music.
Oh, that one would be the least, right?
Yeah, music would be the least.
How many naps do you guys? Yeah.
Naps we can put at the bottom. I don't know how many naps you guys take.
It's sweatpants and
what do you mean by that bottom?
Like the longest amount of time. What'd you say?
It's like, well, sweatpants and desserts. They got to go number 1.
Those are pretty big. Dude.
Yeah, which one do you? Yeah, you make fun of me and then you.
Sweatpants first.
That's what I think.
Sweatpants over music?
No, music is number 1.
Yeah.
What do you wear if you don't wear sweatpants? Jeans every day?
No.
All day?
So only 6 years. You're only willing to go 6 years without wearing sweatpants?
Sure. Is that
that's a
Lemons consider sweatpants?
I don't think so.
I mean, why would you care about
I was just answering a question.
No, they have men's pants.
I don't wear Lulu.
Indy wears
And then what? 12 years without music streaming services?
No, music was 1.
Music was 6 years.
Music
Sweatpants would be
6.
12.
Yeah.
And then desserts would be 18.
Mm-hmm.
And naps I'm fine.
Naps will be 24 years.
Yep.
I would flip desserts and music, but
Oh, damn. Desserts.
I'm gonna go 6 years without having something sweet, or more than that.
18 years.
I feel like these years need to be less. 18 years.
You say this every single time.
Pretty dramatic amount of years. Yeah.
That's what makes it harder to choose.
24 years.
Okay.
But yeah, that's fine.
Let's end with a would you rather question.
Okay.
So would you rather fix one global issue, so like poverty or climate change, so like a pretty big, serious issue,
Okay.
but nobody knows that you did it, or become a billionaire influencer with no real impact?
Billionaire influencer. 0 impact. Billionaire.
But something big, like you can cure the climate crisis.
I'll cure my life crisis.
Billionaire and donate
I'll do
money
both.
to hunger.
Yeah.
No, a billion
No impact,
isn't gonna like save.
I'll be a billionaire and I'll
1
donate.
billion billionaire. You
Yeah.
could have more than
could
1
have 100 billion. Don't limit yourself.
right?
You're an influencer.
How many billionaire influencers do you know? I mean, poverty, like climate crisis. Let's be honest, nobody really cares that much, right? But poverty, yeah, like the people who love Elon and hate Elon, those people, they love climate. But poverty is a big one. Crime is a big one. There's a lot of nasty things that happen in the world, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, on this one, I usually choose money when it comes to these kind of things.
Let's be nice.
That I would poverty, man.
Wow.
Big global issue.
Yeah, that's a massive.
Nobody will know.
Yeah.
How
That's
about
fine,
you,
but
Sukir?
people are happier, man. Maybe the world becomes
I
a better
want to
place.
be a billionaire. So that's where I'm going.
I'll go with poverty, dude. Poverty's huge.
Wow, some nice people.
Right.
Give me the money.
Think about all those countries now. Think about all those kids.
Right.
I'll donate to make myself feel better
Imagine though
after
you
I
could
have the
cure it. How would you
billions.
even cure it? Well, anyway, that's
Yeah.
another question.
Yeah.
With that, it's a wrap. Remember, we're not the experts on anything. You guys should always do your own research. We'll catch you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.